And here we are once again with a Mindful Mike, a practice, well, something a bit different this week, Mike. What have we got?
This week we're going to look at a fairly simple but very effective way to be with and manage and to calm down emotion, reactivity, emotions. So we're going to look at a way of naming what we find in the body.
Okay, right. We're all ready.
Okay.
Let's try it out.
Yeah. Okay, so again, it's fully guided, so all you have to do is listen. It's more of an exploration than something to get right or wrong. So you can take a fairly relaxed but alert posture. You could do it with your eyes closed, but if you can close your eyes, that just adds to a sense of rest, helps you tune in a bit more to what's actually happening in your body. Okay. So the first thing we can do, just to help us calm down and find some stillness, is just notice the breath moving in your body. Okay, we don't need to control that or push that or force the breath. Just notice that you are breathing. It's here. You might feel it in your body. You might feel the rise of that in-breath and the fall of the out-breath. Just stay with that. Ride that breath in and out. Okay, the breath is the remote control for your mind. And then we can just shift our focus up and just kind of tightening it up a little bit by focusing on the feeling of breath as it flows through your nose. So can you find that? Can you feel the in-breath, the sharper in-breath in your nostrils? The softer, smoother out-breath in the nostrils. So we're just beginning by anchoring our attention into breath, just to drop us down a little bit, calm us down. Okay, now we can just kind of notice what's happening in the body right now. The practice we're going to do is actually designed to help us work with emotions, reactivity. So we're just going to notice if there's anything here right now, anything emotional, anything reactive. Is there any tension, any tightness in the body? Just let that be felt. Is there an emotion that accompanies that tension or tightness? Again, just notice that. Let that emotion be felt in your body. And now just take a look at your mind. You know, what's your mind doing? How is your mind accompanying this emotion in your body? Is it full of imagery, thoughts? Is it busy? Perhaps there's a lot of powerful internal dialogue. That's fine. Just notice that. Notice the energy of that mind, that wild mind that's been triggered. And then what we're going to do is just drop down again. We're going to leave behind the mind and just drop down into any emotion, any reactivity that you might feel in your body right now. That's the target for this practice. Where do you feel it? It could be your belly, the diaphragm, the chest. It could be somewhere else. Do you know what this emotion is? Is this an old friend, an old familiar friend that's visited you many times before? It could be anger. It could be sadness. It could be fear. It could be jealousy. It could be something else. What we're going to do is just gently name this emotion, this visitor, this old friend. Okay? And the act of verbally naming it, of naming this emotion as we're feeling it, just helps us get some distance from it. It gives us a kind of step back. without stopping or interfering with the emotion. We just let that have its natural flow, its natural rise and fall. But the act of naming it just helps us stand back from it. Okay, so what you can do if you're alone, for instance, I would suggest just verbally labeling what the emotion is that you're feeling right now. So for instance, if it's anger, you would just feel it right here in the chest, the tight belly, and just say, anger, anger, anger. So we're just tracking it as we're feeling it with this name, with this label. It could be jealousy, it could be sadness. It doesn't matter. Just verbally name it. Maybe you don't know what it is. That's fine. We don't need to get it right necessarily. Just, call it the nearest thing you know. What do you think it is? It's just that act of labeling that we want. So we can just do that for a few moments. Just, yourself, just label whatever you feel in the body. If you can't vocalize that label, if you're in a room full of people, you could just try softly mouthing the word. If that's too difficult, well, you just label it in your mind. Anger, sadness, shame, whatever it is. So we're allowing it to be felt, and we're just naming it as we feel it. So we'll just do that for a moment or two. Feeling it, naming it, staying with it. And just notice what happens as you name it, either out loud or in your mind. Does this emotional reactivity intensify? Does it get bigger? Does it subdue? Does it calm down? Does it drop out? What do you notice as you name it? Okay, now just take a look at what your mind is doing now. Just take a quick look at the mind right now. What's it doing? Is that wild energy still there? Has it calmed down? Just notice. Check what's happening between your ears. That space between your ears, what's there now? Is it full of internal dialogue? Is there silence? Just notice. And then dropping down into the upper body, especially the belly and the chest. It's where we tend to feel reactivity. Is there any sense of calm or relaxation or rest? Or maybe the energy, the emotion is still there? What can you notice? And then just kind of open up. Notice the whole of your body sitting on the chair, from the soles of your feet to the top of your head, from your bones to your skin, the full experience of you, with all the different fizzing and buzzing and pulsing, twitching, tingling. So much going on. Not just the emotion, so much else is happening. A whole universe is happening on the chair. Okay, well done. And now just in your own time, you can open your eyes, you can look around. So that's just a fairly simple but, very effective way to begin to recognize emotions just by naming it. I mean, it's very simple. The practice is called Name It to Tame It. So the more we're able to name it and just allow it to play out, it naturally tames it. So that wild emotion that we try and fight can naturally kind of subside and calm down.
And it's the first time I've gone through a mindfulness practice with you. Would you recommend anyone just sort of finds a quiet corner, or literally you can just sit wherever you happen to be if you want to do this sort of practice?
Both. I mean, it's something worth practicing, so it's worth taking time out, maybe even a few times a day, just especially if you are very emotional or very reactive at the moment, and just play with it. It might be a different emotion every time. It might be the same thing that you're sitting with. But yeah, it's good to practice it regularly so you get that kind of familiarity, but it's also good to kind of just drop into it wherever you can, depending on what's happening.
Surely. And just finally, anything about posture at all? 'Cause I know sometimes in yoga they quite often like to have a straight spine when you're doing some sort of breathing or relaxation. Do you think it really matters?
I think it does. I mean, I don't emphasise posture too much because I think we can go the other extreme and get lost in, is this right, is this correct? But generally just a kind of relaxed, alert posture, especially as we're dealing with emotion, it can help to kind of open up the body and drop it down. So there's more space. Generally, when we're emotional, we tend to kind of curl up into it. The posture curls into the feeling. So the body becomes like an arena, like an open arena for whatever's here, just to have the space to move.
Lovely. There will, of course, be another session from Mike next week. We'll see you then.
Thank you.